welcome my friends to the 8th section of this tutorial. We'll be looking at table this tutorial. Right, in our last class we did list on ordered list and then ordered list. So we're talking about table. For us to create a table in HTML, we use the tag called table. It has opening and closing tag table. And what is inside that table? Table is made up of rows and columns. Please get to know that our tables is made up of rows and columns. So we'll first start with the role of the table. So for us to create a row, we say T arrow. T arrow stands for table rows. So we can say row 1, and we can see that on the browser, row 1. So, and then we can also say row 2, row 2. We can see that on the browser. But this is not actually the way to make it. Now, in a row, we can have different columns. So to put this into column, we can say we use the tag or the element called TD. So say TD, open and close. So this is known as row 1, column 1. So we see that on the browser, row 1, column 1. Why this is, put it in a browser called row 2, column 1. So this is row 2, column 1, and this is row 1, column 2. So that is how we see it displayed on a browser. We can add more columns to it or more rows. This is row 2, column 2. We can also have more columns here, row 1, but column 2 as well. Then if we want to format the table further, we can use an attribute called border and say 1 for it to have these borders around the table. This section is going to be a little bit longer because we have a lot to explain. So T arrow is for table row, while TD is for columns. TD means table data, so it's for columns. That means in this row we have 2 columns. That's how we see them on the browser. Row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2. On this other side, the same thing, we have it. All right. All right then, my friend, let's take an example. Let's say I want to build this table. Let's say I want to build this table. How are we going to build? Let's just keep this thing at the side so we can work with it side by side. Just drag it to the left a little bit. So goes there. Then, all right, so let's build it. So how are we going to do it then? So just watch me. First of all, we use the element called table. And then looking at this stuff, we can see that this, how many rows does this table has? If you look at it critically, it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 4 rows. How many columns does it have? So if we take it from the top, you see that at the top we are seeing just 1 column, but this is not just 1 column, because if you look at it down, there's a column here. So that means it has 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 rows and then 4 columns. That is all we want to build. All right, so since it adds 4 rows, we are going to write T arrow 4 times. So we have T arrows 4 times, which is 4 rows. So, and in each rows, there is 4 columns. Remember I told you that columns are represented with the tag TD. So write TD for the first column, which is cell 1, and then, but in the first row, we only have 3 columns. So we are only just going to write 3 columns in the first row. So change it to 2 and then change it to 3. Then in the second row, we have how many columns? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 columns in the second row. So we are going to say TD, which is in the second row, and say cell 4, cell 4, cell 5, and cell 6, cell 7. So we have 4 columns in the second row. And then in the third row, please let's just put this attribute here called border so that we can have the table stuff there. And then in the third row, we have 1, 2, just 2 columns in the third row. All right then, friends. So we're going to say TD, and then we say cell 4, cell 4, and then 5. And then in the fourth row, we have 3 columns, 1, 2, 3. Then we can say TD, cell 9, and then 10. Then, but if you look at our table, it's not actually looking like this. How are we going to make it look like that? Now, in the first row, we'll see that this first column in the first row span across 2 columns in the first row. So how are we going to do that? We are going to say colspan. That means column span. This column spans. So how many rows? How many columns did it span? 2. So it spans 2. You can see that it has taken its shape 2, while the other 2 remains where they are. Now in the second one, in the second row, we'll find that it has 4 columns, which is right, but what is happening here? This one column is spanning across 3 rows. 3 rows. This one column is spanning across 3 rows. So that means if this first column in our second row, if this first column in our second row is spanning across row 4 and row 5, that means row 4 doesn't have cell 4 and doesn't have cell 4. So because it doesn't have, we are going to say row span. We use row span vertically while colspan horizontally. So this will be how many? 3. So if you look at it now, this is it here. It has spanned 3 rows. Then if you look at the number 4, that means we can only, the number 4 rows, we can only see the number 5 column. And the number 5 column is spanning across 3 columns, which is horizontally. So if we want to do that, instead of us to say row span, we say column span because it is horizontal. And how many did it span across? 3. So we see here to be 3. Then what about the remaining 2? You can see that cell 9 remains the same, but cell 10 spans across 2 columns. There, we can come to cell 10 and then say colspan 2. So we can see that we have created this table. This is how we can create tables by using the colspan, row span attribute to span across either horizontally or vertically. Alright then, my friends, this will be your assignment and your classwork. Just look at it and then see how you can come up with a solution to it. This you will do. You just pick one of these and do, and again also do this as well as your assignment. Alright, see you in the next class, and God bless you.